Hey everyone, this is Overwatch Grandma, your friendly neighborhood anime. Wait a second, that's not right. I am now your friendly neighborhood KIRIKO main. KIRIKO is a support hero, finally, who balances traditional paths with modern ideals and likewise also balances big heals with tons of damage. Now I know what you're saying, I hear you, the protection Suzu is broken, the teleport is broken, but hear me out. I do think there's a relatively high skill ceiling when it comes down to playing KIRIKO to her max potential. But first, let's break down KIRIKO's abilities, starting with her primary and secondary fire. KIRIKO's primary fire is her healing Ofuda, aka the little paper talismans she throws at her teammates to heal them. These talismans have a soft lock onto allies, and it will follow allies as they move to a certain extent. You do need to maintain LOS, otherwise they will fly into walls and objects. The talismans are slow moving and they heal over time, so burst damage is a concern. You may find yourself pre-healing a lot to account for travel time. Now, these talismans being soft locking doesn't mean you don't have to aim. If I, for example, aim my crosshair between these two targets, most of the Ofuda will miss both of them. Now speaking of aim, let's move on to KIRIKO's secondary fire, her kunai. The kunai are small projectiles and they are not easy to hit. Sure, you could just do body shots, but it will take you 5+ shots to kill a squishy target, and that's providing they don't get a single crumb of healing. The real damage comes from hitting headshots. Headshots do more damage, but they also have a multiplier for hitting consecutive headshots up to 3 times the normal headshot damage. Now, you might be thinking, whoa there Grandma, that sounds crazy, let's get you to bed. But, I assure you, it is not easy to hit those headshots with such a small projectile. Unless of course you are SK.
I'm an excellent shot.
KIRIKO has a very nice flow between her healing and damage, and I think it will be very rewarding for players to hit those spicy headshots between raining healing down on their allies like a gentle summer breeze. Okay, enough about that, on to KIRIKO's abilities. Now let's start with Swiftstep. Swiftstep is the first of its kind in terms of abilities. Unlike Reaper Teleport or Moira Fade, KIRIKO's Swiftstep can go through walls, provided you have a living ally to teleport to. You cannot teleport to your teammates' souls, or if they're in an untargetable state like Mei Ice Block. It does have a range, so allies have to be relatively close by. However, there's no limit to how many walls you can teleport through. You can also teleport up, down, and all around if there is a friendly target to BAMF to. Petition, by the way, for the callout for this ability to be BAMF. I beg you, Overwatch community, please. I know people are thinking this is an easy engage and disengage, but with a cooldown of 7 seconds, that's a long time to potentially be caught out. You may think, oh, I can teleport to my Genji who's critical, but once you're in, you can't get out. So, use this ability wisely and hold onto it for proper engages, or, even better, escapes. Now, KIRIKO's next ability has caused a lot of controversy, the Protection Suzu. Aside from looking really pretty, this ability can do 3 things. 1. Summon a small burst area of healing. 2. Cleanse allies of status effects. And 3. Provide invulnerability for just under 1 second. Yes, I will admit, this seems like a lot. But let's go through a few things about this ability. First of all, it is a projectile, so unless you are point blank, it is not an easy ability to time. The immortality effect from this ability is very short, under 1 second, so it will not save you from extended damage like Grav Dragon or Barrage, unless you kill the Pharah. This ability also is thrown in an arc, which would make aiming it at a distance even more challenging. Now, I do think this adds a lot of skill to the ability. Because it does have a longer cooldown of about 12 seconds, it's very easy to bait out with nade or other status effects. Also, because it is a projectile, you can counter it using Diva Matrix, Orisa Javelin Spin, or Sigma Kinetic Grasp to eat it, and you can also deflect it with Genji, making it your Protection Suzu. This makes it better than Lamp by far because it allows for skillful counterplay as well. Also, delete lamp. Finally, we have Kiriko's ultimate ability, Kitsune Rush. Calling upon your foxy spirit friend, a path is created, giving your allies not only movement speed, but faster firing rates, reloads, and cooldowns. Often, Kiriko's will mirror their ultimates for a very fast-paced, terrifying, and fun teamfight on both sides. It's a great ultimate for pushing past chokes, turning teamfights, or just straight up sending a message. What does the fox say? It says, fuck you! Okay, now that we've had a rundown of all Kiriko's abilities, let's talk a bit about settings since a lot of people were customizing them right away. The biggest thing people do first is switch her primary and secondary fire. It seems a lot of people prefer having the kunai damage on M1 and the healing on M2. Personally, I prefer the default way, but it is personal preference and I do see the value in having it the other way as well. You can also play with the Swiftstep sensitivity. Personally, I put mine to 75% because I was finding there was a bit of a delay with teleporting to the right target, but be careful not to have the sensitivity be too high or you might end up teleporting to an unintended target, usually the one closest to you. You can also toggle your healing Afuda. Toggle is on by default, which means it will use all 5 talismans at once every time. Personally, I prefer to have this off so you can have a lot more control over how much healing you use and when, and you aren't reloading every time you use it. But again, this comes down to personal preference. You can also turn off the Fuda overlay that shows you how many talismans you currently have. I also prefer to have it on, but hey, if you don't like it in your vision, you can get rid of it. Alright, that pretty much wraps up all the basics about Kiriko. I think Kiriko has a decently accessible kit, but a high skill ceiling to play her very well and get the most competitive value. She will probably be broken in the right hands, but you know what? Good. That's how Overwatch should be. Heroes that are fun to play at all ranks, but really excel in the hands of a skilled player. That being said, I think people are going to have a lot of fun playing Kiriko. That's all for me for now. Remember, if you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up, comment, and subscribe to the channel for more Overwatch 2 content. If you have any questions, feel free to drop them below and I will do my best to answer. And that's Grandma, over and out. Bye!